Okay, so welcome everybody. My name is Bev, but I think you know that. So welcome in. Today's session is going to be all things what we now call Hot 26, what used to be called Bikram. And how many of you watched that Bikram documentary on Netflix? Did anybody watch it? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that painted quite a picture of Bikram Choudhury, who's the person that developed the sequence. And we're going to be talking a little bit more in depth about him, about what the sequence entails. And I won't do a whole class with you because that's a full hour. And if I'm going a little bit slower, it'll take longer. So instead of doing 2 sets of each posture like we're supposed to, we'll just do 1 set so that you can get a feel for it. And then you can ask me any questions afterwards. Okay. All right, let me go to screen, share screen, and let's do. Okay. Sorry, let me just figure this out. Just give me a sec. Oopsie, what's going on here now? Hang on a second, sorry. This was working perfectly yesterday. Now, of course, when you get on here now, it doesn't work. All right. Okay, we're just gonna have to do it like this then. That should be fine. Oh wait, hang on. Wait. Ah, there we go. Okay. I'm gonna take all these little things off here. Okay, so you have this chap called Bikram Choudhury, and that's a picture of him doing some really weird adjustment on one of his trainees, but we'll come back to that in a moment. So he practiced Hatha yoga, and he practiced Hatha yoga all over the world. And when he practiced Hatha yoga in Japan in the 1970s, he was intrigued or found it interesting that the Japanese students would take a class and then they would go and have a sauna afterwards. So he decided, well, why don't we put the 2 things together, yoga and heat? So he started experimenting with adding heaters in the yoga room when he was teaching. And he developed this sequence of Hot 26, and it's called Hot 26, because it's a 26 sequence of postures, and it's Hatha yoga. So in other words, unlike your vinyasa yoga, where you have movements where you take a vinyasa to change between the postures and between the sides, it's quite static, and some of the poses are held for a certain amount of time. Some of them are held, the longest that you hold the pose for is 1 minute, and it doesn't sound long, but when you're trying to stay in one pose for a minute, it feels like it's forever. All the classes are run in a heated environment. It's 40 degrees Celsius, and that shouldn't be 40% humidity. That should be 60% humidity. So it's very high humidity as well. And he originally developed the classes to run for 90 minutes. Okay, so the classes that you might have seen advertised or you might have gone to at local yoga studios are probably just an hour. So it got shortened because people don't really have lots of time, especially in the Western world, to do a class for 90 minutes. But the proper sequence is a 90-minute sequence. Can I just find out, has anybody actually practiced Hot 26 or done Hot 26? Okay, good. A few of you. Okay, good. All right. So it is very hot. Yeah, all right. Yes. Okay, good. Thank you. It is very hot. It's humid. And the idea is that it's quite a militant sort of practice. You have to go in and be really, really focused because you're doing a lot of balancing on one leg. And so if you have people that are in front of you that are moving around, fiddling, fidgeting, drinking water, and you trying to focus on balancing, it's very distracting. So new people to Hot 26 might not realize this, but you need to make sure that you keep your fiddling and your fidgeting and everything to a bare minimum. There's also only an hour to get through all 26 postures. So the teacher actually doesn't have time to wait for people to have water and fiddle and fidget and so on. So it's quite a militant when I say militants, I mean in the form that we all move together as a group, and we try and avoid external distractions and fidgeting and all that kind of thing, and even drinking water to the bare minimum so that people can focus on their balancing. You have a mirrors in the front of the yoga studio for Hot 26, and that is how you check your alignments. So there is everybody looks in the mirror, and you get cued to look in the mirror and see what your body's doing. The teacher does not demonstrate the poses. Okay, so if I'm teaching a Hot 26 class, I do not demonstrate. It's impossible for me to demonstrate, talk, manage the music, manage the heat. It's just too much. Even just trying to do all 26 postures and talking in that heat and humidity is impossible. So the teacher will stand or move around and give mainly verbal adjustment cues. We also haven't got time to physically adjust. We might do 1 or 2 small adjustments, but we really don't have time to adjust 5 students in one posture. Okay, and when we talk about timing, you'll understand what I mean. So we move strictly from one posture to the other. We have 3 postures that start, and that's a warm-up. At the end of that warm-up, you have an official water break, and that is the only water break that you have in the whole class. So I will cue the students. That's the end of the warm-up. You can have a sip of water. You do it quickly, and then we move on. And the idea is that you should be able to do the whole class without having to drink gallons and gallons of water. Okay, as I said, if you're trying to balance and the person in front of you is bending down and picking up their water and standing and drinking, it really throws out the whole focus of the whole class. So as teachers, we need to be a little bit stricter about what people do in their classes. Whereas in a vinyasa class, you can have water, you can lie down in child's pose, you can basically just rest if you need to. And it's not so strict. And obviously we don't move in such a strict formula, in such a strict group in vinyasa classes. I mean, you can move a little bit slower if you like. You can add things on, you can add things into your sequence like crow or whatever you're working on. So it's not quite as strict as the Bikram sequence. So Bikram was a very controversial character because, well, you watch the documentary. He didn't really behave himself too well, let's put it that way. But okay, this picture isn't very clear, but if you can see all the people that are sitting in the back there, in the background of that picture, those are all the students at one of his teacher trainings. He had hundreds of students on one teacher training, and he did hundreds of teacher trainings. They used to book out a whole hotel, and the students would then stay at the hotel, and they would do Bikram or Hot 26 24/7. And he tried to patent his sequence, because by patenting a sequence, he wanted to be able to say, okay, this is my sequence, and you can only teach my sequence if you have come and done my teacher training. And when I think that you are good enough to open a studio and call it Bikram studio, or you're going to be teaching Bikram yoga, then you would have to have paid him. It's almost like what do you call it? Like a franchise fee to be allowed to teach Bikram yoga. And that's what he wanted, and he would have made an absolute fortune doing that. But luckily the court threw it out, because they said that none of the postures are unique. They're not something that nobody has ever developed or thought of or done before. So thank heavens that didn't happen, which means that you guys can learn to teach Hot 26, and you can teach it without having to have gone and done one of his teacher training courses. He's banned from America. I don't know if you guys know that. If you watch the documentary, you will know that. He's banned from America, but he is still running teacher trainings in Mexico, in Spain, and his teacher trainings are apparently just as popular as ever. And although he was a controversial character, there are still people that absolutely think he was the best thing that ever happened to them. And I'm just trying to find this group that I found on Facebook. I'm just going to share it with you guys. Let's just see if my phone will pick it up. Oh, it's a little bit slow. Okay, it's called Bikram Yoga Headquarters Los Angeles, and it's got a public group of 5.5, I think that's 5.5 thousand members. And if you go on and just have a look, you will see how they still put him on an absolute pedestal. When it's his birthday, they post wishing him happy birthday. And a lot of the posts say that they wish that he would come back and do teacher trainings with them. So a lot of people still idolize him, despite the fact that a lot of people will go, no, he was absolutely terrible and he's not a nice person, and I'm writing off Hot 26 and I'm never doing Bikram again. There are a lot of people that absolutely idolize him. And so my advice to you is, the documentary was very controversial, I agree. But my advice is, take the man out of the equation. Yes, he did develop the sequence, and yes, he wasn't a very nice person, but the sequence is absolutely amazing. It is, what's the word, intelligent, so that your body is prepared for everything that comes next, like you should be in all yoga classes. And your body feels amazing after you've done the sequence. So don't write it off because of him. Be open-minded to practicing all different types of yoga. And if you haven't done Hot 26, I really suggest that you go and give it a try. Okay. So having said all of that, it wasn't actually Bikram Choudhury that developed the sequence. He had a guru that was teaching him Hatha Yoga, and this guru showed him all these sequences, and all he did was take them and put them into the sequence that is now the sequence that we call Hot 26. Okay, so even though he tried to patent the whole thing and he is the person that developed and launched the sequence, he wasn't actually the original person who developed it. It was the person that was teaching him yoga before. Okay. Please, if there's any questions at any stage, stick your hand up or just put it in the chat and I'll try and answer as many questions as I can. Okay. So, obviously, if you look at a Hot 26 class, there is a specific timing sheet, which you can see on your screen now. It's got all 26 postures, and there are 2 breathing postures. The first one, pranayama, deep breathing, is the first posture, and he ends it off with Kapalabhati breathing, which is the last posture. Okay. In that sequence, you do 2 sets. In a 90-minute class, you do 2 sets of every single posture, except for tree, which comes in the middle, and the spinal twist, the Ardha, Matsya, and Drasana at the end. And you can see that the first set and the second set are held for a certain amount of time. And the time that you hold the first set and the second set for is also different. So when you are learning to teach Hot 26 and when you are teaching Hot 26, it's very important that you stick to the times that these poses are supposed to be held for. You get a lot of people who do Bikram, they don't do anything else. All they do is Bikram Hot 26. And they have a good feel, because they've been doing it for so long, about how long the poses should be held to each side. And if you don't hold it to the correct amount of time, or if you hold the pose to the right side for a minute and you hold the pose to the left side for only 20 seconds, they're going to get really annoyed with you. Okay, so one of the things that you have to learn is the timing. It does take a bit of effort and it is a little bit tricky, but once you've mastered it, you've mastered it. If I'm teaching an hour Bikram class, and I'm just using an hour as an example, or Hot 26, let's say I'll start my teaching at 5. I know that by the time I get to exactly 20 to 6, I must have finished the whole standing sequence, and we are in Shavasana. He has a Shavasana in the middle of the practice, which is an active Shavasana. Okay, so I know I've got 40 minutes to do the standing sequence and get everybody into Shavasana, and then I've got 20 minutes to finish off the rest of the sequence. If I do not have everybody finished, or I haven't taught the sequence properly, and I haven't got everybody in Shavasana at 22, then I know that I've either gone too quickly and I haven't kept them in the postures long enough, or I've gone too slowly and I'm going to run out of time to get the rest of the postures done. Okay, so timing is very, very, very specific. Okay, that's the first thing. Next thing is, okay, there are the 26 postures. You will see that some of the postures have got 2 or 3 postures within that posture. Okay, so for the first one, if you look at, let me give you an example. Okay, I will talk about this again when we actually do the class, because if you look at the third posture there, it's called Utkatasana, chair pose, but there are 3 different things you do for that one posture, and all those 3 postures are still labeled as one pose, which is chair pose. So some of them have got a few added things that you need to do, but basically it's a 26 posture sequence. It is the same sequence every single time, everywhere around the world. So you can go into a Hot 26 class wherever, and you know what you are going to get. It's the same sequence all the time. And as far as I know, everybody all over the world teaches the sequence, unless they do something silly and take some of the postures out, in which case you can't call it Hot 26. So Hot 26 is this specific 26 posture sequence and nothing else. Okay. All right. Okay, so I'm just going to run through the postures briefly without going into too much detail. Okay, so the first one is called pranayama, deep breathing. You do 2 sets, and your inhalations are in through the nose and your exhalations are out through the mouth. And I will demonstrate this because it is a little bit tricky. And you do 10 rounds in the first set and you do 10 rounds in the second set. Okay. So that is the opening posture. That is how you start the practice. And you are cueing and you are counting, and everybody does everything together on the count. And you'll see what I mean when we do the class. Your next set consists of 3 postures. So these 3 postures all together are called half moon Ardha Chandrasana. I'm also just going to explain that when you do the sequence, you do everything to the right-hand side first. Then the cue to get you out of the posture is change. And then you go and you do the left-hand side. So it's always right first and then left second. And you don't change that, because if you do, the people that do Bikram are going to know that you don't know what you're doing, and they're not going to be very happy with you. And when I say people, there are people that just practice Hot 26. Trust me, they are, and they love it, and they are not interested in doing anything else. So they almost know the sequence backwards. And that's why I say they know if you have cheated them out of a posture, or if you haven't spent enough time there, or if you've rushed through it and you've left some stuff out. Okay, so this is Ardha Chandrasana, half moon. First of all, it's a side bend to the right. You hold it for between 40 seconds and a minute. To the left, same thing. You hold it for the same time. Then it's a back bend, which is much shorter. Okay, and then it's a forward fold. So Bikram Choudhury also named all these postures. He gave them Sanskrit names, which are slightly different to the names that you have for the same postures in traditional Vinyasa or Ashtanga classes. And also by changing the name slightly and giving them his own version of Sanskrit, he tried to use that as a way to patent his sequence as well. But as I said, that was all thrown out, of course. It didn't actually work. Okay, so this pose consists of 3 parts. It's still one pose altogether. Okay. Right, that's the first one. So it's your side bend, your back bend, and your forward fold. Okay, that's your first proper posture. This is all part of the warm-up sequence. Your next one is awkward squats, Utkatasana, and that consists of 3 parts as well. And you can see how they're all a little bit different, and Alex will work through that when we do the class. So those 3 poses all together is known as awkward squat, Utkatasana, and you do one after the other, and in a 90-minute class and a 60-minute class, you do 2 sets. Okay. Then you have eagle pose, Garudasana. Same name, but the posture, the pose is a little bit different. And I want you to just have a look at that picture that you see on your screen. So the idea for his eagle is compression of the joints. So instead of lifting the arms away from the chest, his instructions are to pull your elbows into your tummy or your belly button without rounding your spine. So your spine stays straight or neutral. You pull the elbows down. If you have very tight muscles around the back body, like your rhomboids and your lats and the muscles around the shoulders, it's going to be difficult to pull your fingers below your eyes. So the idea is when you are open more in your shoulders and the muscles have opened up and stretched a little bit, When you do this pose, when you pull your hands down, you'll be able to see your eyes over your fingertips. He's also leaning slightly forward. So there's a little bit of flexion at the hips, which is different to how you would possibly teach it in a vinyasa class, because in a vinyasa class, you basically taught to stand up more straight. And then the hook of the foot is the same. And then you focus on squeezing the arms, the legs together. So you're getting compression in the joints. Okay, you do right arm underneath left and right leg over left first, and then you do the left hand side. You do 2 sets. That is the end of the warm-up sequence. And now this is where we cue a water break, the one and only. So they have literally 5 seconds to have a sip of water, and then we need to move on, otherwise we are not going to finish. Okay. You move into standing sequence after that, and it's 3 postures, balancing on one leg. The first one is standing head to knee, and he called it Dandayamana Dana Shasana. Your starting point is right on the left-hand side where that lady is folding over and just holding underneath her foot. That's the starting point. That's where beginners can stay if they can't kick their leg out. Secondly, you kick the leg out, and then there's a forward fold, lots of rounding, lots of flexion in the upper back, and you can see that nicely in the last picture. And then you tap your forehead to your knee. This is probably, it's for me and a lot of people, it's probably the most challenging pose out of the whole sequence. And the leg that gets straightened out, the one that's kicking out, needs to be parallel to the floor, because if it is hanging down towards the floor and you're holding onto that foot with your hand, I'm going to ask you a question now. Okay, so I'm holding my foot underneath my hand. I hope I haven't lost everybody. Are you there? Okay, so I'm holding my foot underneath my hand, and I'm now kicking that leg out in front of me. If that leg is dragging down towards the floor, I'll show you what I mean. So if I'm holding my foot from underneath and I try and kick it out, but I'm dragging it down towards the floor instead, where do you think I'm going to feel it in my body that is not going to feel comfortable? Anybody can answer.
The lower back?
Yes, who was that?
Yeah. Paula.
Yes, well done, Paula. Exactly. Okay, so it's quite strict instructions. If you can't get the front leg parallel to the floor, you don't kick out. You stay in stage 1 where that first lady is, until your hamstrings open, until your balance improves, and until you can get that front leg parallel to the floor. Otherwise, all you're doing is just dumping into your lower back and it feels uncomfortable. Okay. Okay. Right, you hold the first set for a minute and the second set is 30 seconds. So again, it's different timing for first and second sets. Oopsie. Okay. You then move into standing bow pulling pose, or as we know it in vinyasa classes as your dancers, your Nataraja. He called it Dandayamana Dhanurasana. The only difference really between this and a dancer's pose is that instead of hiking the hip of the back leg up, so in other words, if I'm kicking my right leg back, that hip normally would go up towards the ceiling with a bit of external rotation in that hip. He wants you to try and level out your hips. So you would drop, if I'm kicking the right leg back, I would drop the right hip down so that my hips are level and squared off towards the mats. Okay. And then tummy and chest, you try and drop parallel or almost parallel to the floor. So that is the difference between the one you would do in Vinyasa class and the Bikram one. So can you see how he just altered some of the shapes and made them slightly different and specific? And by doing that, developed a whole different sequence, okay? There's a lot of back bending and forward folding, if you haven't noticed, in this sequence, okay? So let's just look at this one, for example. That's a forward fold. And that's, oopsie, then you go into your, that's a back bend. Okay, so it's a lot of spinal flexion and spinal extension. And that is what the whole sequence is really based on. And your peak posture is Ustrasana Camel, which comes towards the end. Okay. Your next one after standing bow pulling pose is your Tulan Dandasana, which is your standing balancing stick. It's almost like a warrior 3, but there's a very specific bind with the hands. If you know mudras, it's a Kali Mudra bind. If you're not sure what that is, you just interlace your fingers and release the finger, the index fingers forward or up towards the ceiling. And when you tilt your body forward, they face forward. So it's this very specific hand bind. And obviously the idea is to get your body in one straight line and to drop the hip down of the leg that's kicking up so that your hips are level and squared off. And very specific instruction is to point the back toes. So you don't flex the foot, you point the toes. Okay. From there, you move into what he calls the standing separate leg stretching poses. There's a few of them. This is the first one. It's like Paschimottanasana. He calls it Dandayamana Bikaptapada Paschimottanasana. The difference between this and one that you would do in Ashtanga or Vinyasa is that you don't tuck your chin. Your chin is lifted. So you're trying to basically, when you bring yourself down between your thighs, you're trying to get almost the forehead to the floor instead of the top of the head, instead of the crown of the head as you would do in traditional Prasarita, not Paschimottanasana. We call it Prasarita, your wide-legged forward fold. So basically wide-legged forward fold, but with your chin lifted, and you're trying to bring your forehead as close to the mat as you can. You pull on your legs, you keep the spine long, and you try and draw yourself as low to the floor as you can. Okay. Then we have what he calls triangle. What is this pose called in the Vinyasa class? Everybody know? Or similar. That's not triangle in the Vinyasa class, is it? That's not Trikonasana as we know it, is it?
Extended side angle.
Yes. Okay, so that is basically, well done. That is basically extended side angle, but he called it triangle. And it's a little bit different. Your top arm does not go, does not go over your head. And your bottom hand floats off the floor. So your fingers are floating. And then there's that bend in the front leg, and you're trying to get the front thigh parallel to the floor. Top arm reaches straight up. Your gaze is up. And it's quite tricky to actually hold that with the fingers hovering. We hold that for quite a while as well. And we do both sides, right and left. Okay, so that is his triangle, Trikonasana. But as we know it, it's extended side angle. Okay. Then we do another one, standing head to knee, Dandayamana Bikaptapada Janu Shirshasana. The aim of this pose, a lot of spinal flexion. Can you see the rounding in the thoracic spine? It's a lot of rounding in that upper part of the spine. The idea is to get your forehead to touch your knee. So this picture demonstrates somebody that is able to do it very easily with a straight front leg. And when we do it, most of you, or a lot of you, I'm sure, will have to bend the front knee to get your forehead to touch the knee. You aim to straighten both of your legs, but if you lose that forehead to knee connection, you're not doing the pose. Okay? So your forehead must touch your knee, even if it means that you bend your front leg. And of course, the idea is that the more you practice, the more you can see that you're working towards straightening the front leg and still keeping the forehead to knee connection. A lot of rounding, a lot of flexion in that upper back specifically. Okay. Tree pose, he calls it Tadasana. Tadasana in Vinyasa is your standing or your high mountain. So he calls it tree pose. Can everybody see the picture? Isn't that clear? But can everybody see what the difference is between this tree and a tree pose that you would possibly teach in a Vinyasa class? Can anybody tell me?
Foot's in the hip.
Yes, so the foot that's lifted, correct, is in half lotus, basically. Okay, so that is the difference. The foot that's lifted does not place on the inner thigh. It's in half lotus. And normally you would hold that foot from underneath. In this picture, she would be holding that foot from underneath with her left hand, and she would bring her right hand to her heart center. Okay, if you can bring both hands in front of you and keep your leg where it is, That's brilliant, but that's very tricky to do. So most of the people who do tree pose will be holding that front foot from underneath on this side with the left hand and on the other side with the right hand. Okay. If you see that people are rounding their spine and they're not standing up straight with their foot in half lotus, the idea is to have a straight spine. Then you will verbally cue to take the foot and place it in traditional tree pose. Okay, because you don't want your spine to be rounded. Then they stand all skew, and you'll notice it straight away. They're rounded in the back and their shoulders are skew. The one shoulder is higher than the other and it looks awful, it looks uncomfortable. And so you want the focus to be on a long, straight back. And if you need to, you just take traditional tree so that you can accomplish that in the pose. If you have no issues with your knees, you move into toe stand, Padangusthasana. If you have issues with your knees, you stay in tree, because when you lower with that half lotus foot in the hip and you're dropping down into that shape, it's quite a lot of pressure on the knees. And when you're at the bottom, that bottom leg, that knee is in huge flexion. Plus you've got the weight of the top foot on that thigh. So you don't want to do this pose if you have issues with your knees. It's going to be uncomfortable and possibly harmful. Okay, so people with issues with their knees, leave this one out. But it's quite a fun one to do if you really want to challenge yourself, because it's very tricky. Okay, I've got someone who wants to ask a question. Oh, shame, Paula. Are you guys struggling with the sound? Are you guys battling with the sound, or can you hear me okay?
It's okay, it just breaks up every now and then.
Okay, all right. I know Wi-Fi isn't the greatest, unfortunately. Okay, all right. I'll do my best to try and keep this Wi-Fi on an even keel, and let's see how we go. All right, so toe stand. Any questions about anything so far, guys? All good. Okay, great. Okay.
Sorry, just a question. I sort of missed a bit. I don't know if it's my Wi-Fi. This toe stand, is this just a variation from tree pose, or is this a pose on its own?
It is a pose on its own, but you move into it from tree, and you only do one set of this one.
Yes. Okay, so it'll be part of that one. Okay, thanks.
Yes, so it'll be part of your tree pose. Okay, so it's considered a part of your tree pose. So one pose, yes. Does that make sense? Does it help?
Yes. Great.
Okay, great.
Sorry, I missed a couple of it, but yeah.
Okay, all right, perfect. Yeah, the sound isn't great. Okay, so when I now get to this part of the sequence, I should have taken 40 minutes to finish the whole standing sequence, because then we move into Shavasana. And this Shavasana, you turn around and your head faces the front of the mat and your feet face the back. So it's different to your Shavasana where you just lie down on the floor when you finished a class with your feet facing the front. It's an active Shavasana, so your eyes are open, your heels are touching, your hands are close to your hips. And you do the same thing that you would do in normal Shavasana, and that you don't move anything except your chest for your breathing. And it's about a 2-minute Shavasana that you lie in for before you move on with the rest of the sequence. Okay. When removing pose, Pavana Muktasana, it's really quite simple actually. Right knee in first, then left knee in, and then you do the two legs together. When you have the two legs together, the idea is to push your lower back and your tailbone or sacrum down so that your spine is flat from the back of the head to almost the tip of the tailbone. So you're not curling your lower body off the floor. Okay. Then you do what we call a Bikram sit-up. So you bring the feet together, you flex your toes, you take your arms overhead and you just cross your thumbs. You take a breath in and you hold that breath as you sit up to 90 degrees. And then you do a double exhale out of your mouth as you reach for the toes. Okay. So I'm going to show you what it looks like, because it just makes it easier when we get into the sequence. Okay. Now, yeah, I'm going to show you. You all can see me. I'm going to be lying on the floor. Yes. Okay. So this is what that Bikram sit-up looks like. Okay, feet together, arms overhead. Take a big breath in. You hold it, and then you go shh, shh, and you grab for your toes, and you take a double exhale out of your mouth. Did everybody see that? Yes, sort of. Okay, good. All right, so that is the Bikram sit-up, and you do a lot of these, and I'm going to explain that now. When you've done your Bikram sit-up, you're still facing the back of the mat. So now you cue your students to turn around, face the front, and lie down on their tummy for the spine strengthening sequence, and that starts with Cobra Bhujangasana. Okay, so same as Vinyasa. I don't like this picture too much because she's lifting her chin far too high and taking a lot of compression in the neck and the back of the neck and the cervical spine. So the idea is to not lift your head so high, but basically it's the same as your normal Cobra. Your toes are untucked, your hands are underneath your shoulders, and you try not to use your hands to lift up. You want to switch the back body on and get that back body to work and lift the chest off the floor. Second one is half locust. You start with your hands underneath your body with the palms of your hands facing down. It's a little bit uncomfortable. The upper back is doming, so you're rounding your shoulders and pressing them down. Your chin or your lips are on the floor. You first start by lifting one leg up at a time, starting with the right and then the left. And then you kick both feet up at the same time. It's extremely, extremely difficult. And when you do it, you'll see what I mean. If you can get your feet, let's say 5 or 10 centimeters off the floor behind you, you're doing well. It's very tricky. Okay. So strengthening the back body again, and it doesn't feel comfortable, but yeah, it's a hot 26 pose. So we do it. Next one is full locust. He called it Purna Shalabhasana. Your arms are out, so it's like an airplane. You're just flying everything off the floor, your chest, your arms, and your legs at the same time. Then we do one more, which is bow pose, Dhanurasana. And I don't think a lot of people would be able to get into this pose that deep. So you would just be holding your feet with your arms in extension behind you, like you would do normal bow pose, Dhanurasana in a Vinyasa class. Okay. So let me just go back to here. Okay, so you do the whole spine strengthening sequence. Then you push yourself up into a seat and you do Virasana, which he calls Supta Vajrasana. And it's called fixed firm pose if you want the English name. So your feet are outside your hips and you slowly lower yourself all the way down if you can. Again, it's a tricky, tricky shape. If people have issues with their knees or their ankles, they don't do this. They just stay sitting with their arms overhead, gripping opposite elbows like the lady is doing when she's lying down. And if you can get onto the floor, then it's quite a long hold here. Okay, so there'll be a lot of students who actually don't go into it because they can't. That talk of the knees with the feet outside the hips can be extremely uncomfortable for a lot of bodies. Okay. Okay, so after you've done that, you come back to sitting, and then you turn around and you lie in Shavasana with your head towards the front of the mat.
Did anybody get kicked off earlier? No, okay. It was just me then.
Shame. I think just you and Bev actually. It's
Oh,
Bev's here.
yeah, I got kicked off like 3 times. I didn't know if it was from my side or where. But can also nobody hear now?
I can hear nothing. I just
I
see a
also
little
can't
box
hear.
moving on the
Hi,
screen.
sorry, I got kicked off.
Okay.
Okay, I'm just going to say everything that I said there again. So after you have done this pose, you sit up, you turn around into a Shavasana,
Oh,
and then you do a Bikram sit up. You turn around, face the front of the mat, and then you move on with your next pose, which is half tortoise Ardha Kumbhasana, which is basically like an extended child's pose. Okay. When you've done that pose, guess what? You turn around, Shavasana, Bikram sit up. Okay. You face the front of the mats and you come into your peak pose, which is Camel Ustrasana. Okay. After you've done, we do 2 sets of this as well. So in a 90-minute class, you do 2 sets and can be quite intense. Don't forget you've got heat, you've got humidity, you've been working hard for nearly an hour already. So by the time you get here, you really have to dig deep to get into this pose. And as it is, it's a tricky pose for most of us. After you've done your camel, guess what? You turn around into Shavasana, Bikram sit up, you turn around, you face the front of the mat, and you go into something called rabbit pose, Sasangasana. So can you see how there's a lot of, that's a bit of spinal flexion. That's a back bend. And then he takes you into spinal flexion again. Okay, so anybody that thinks that moving from back bending to forward folding is bad for your body, hopefully Catherine would have touched on this with you. It's not. Our spines are meant to move in a variety of ways. And if you're going from spinal flexion to extension or back bending to forward folding, it's not going to damage your spine or your back in any way. Okay. So the whole sequence is forward folding, back bending, forward folding, back bending, one to the other. And that is the idea of the sequence. And because your peak pose is your camel, and then he balances that out with some spinal flexion, some rounding. Okay, any questions about that? Okay, good. All right.
Bev, I have a question.
Yes.
What philosophy with Hot 26 on props? So something like the one where you had your knees along the inner thighs, would you be able to prop that onto a block or something?
Good question. And the answer is yes. But if I'm teaching a class and I have people that I haven't had before, I haven't got time to run around propping them up. Okay. So I will catch those people after class and I will say to them, when you do this pose next time, if you're going to do it future classes, please take a block and place it, and I will tell them wherever it needs to be placed. I will also see if people in floor bow need a strap because they can't reach their feet. Then I will catch those people on the way out and I'll say, next time, take a strap in with you, let the teacher know, and then the teacher can prop you up. And it's quick. I literally, if I'm doing that for, let's say 2 people and they've got straps for floor bow, while I'm queuing, I go to the first person. Okay, so while I'm queuing, I'll go to the first person and I'll help them put the strap around their feet and get up. Then I literally nearly run across the studio to the other person to help that person with the strap. So I don't have time to go and prop everybody up for all the sequences, for all the postures. So it's a very good question because it's tricky. That is why your verbal cueing has to be so specific in Hot 26, because if I can see somebody's doing something wrong, then I need to say, you know, you need to come out and try doing it this way instead. Or if I can see that people are, for example, in, let's say, I don't know, camel pose, and I can see that one person can't reach they can't get their hands down onto their heels because their arms are a little bit short, then I will say, Susan, whatever her name is, try tuck your toes and now try to hold your heels. Okay, so your verbal cues have to be on point because you haven't got time to go and prop everybody up. Okay, does it help? I mean, it's not what you want ideally in a yoga practice, but because Hot 26 is so time restricted, you haven't got time to prop everybody up. Okay, does that answer your
No.
question?
Yeah, that's great. I've just never done a Hot 26 class, so I'm just not sure what the philosophy is on propping
Okay.
but yeah, it makes
It's a good
complete sense.
question. It's a good question because ultimately, if you are teaching, you want to make your students as safe and as comfortable as possible, and you really don't have time. So I definitely catch the students afterwards, and just tell them what to do for the next time. And when they come the next time and they've got a block, then I'll show them where to put it and I'll pop them up, and it's quick. But I don't have time to say, okay, if your heels don't touch the floor, I'll bring you a block. I don't have time for that. Because if 10 people put their hand up, I'll be able to get the block to maybe 4 of them before we have to come out of the shape. Okay, so it is tricky. And the most important thing that people need to understand when they do a Hot 26 is to listen to the instructions. The teacher talks non-stop for 90 minutes or an hour, and the instructions are to get you into the pose safely, to give you instructions to go a little bit deeper or modify or adjust when you're in the pose, verbal cues, and then to get you out of the pose safely. So really the focus is quite specific because you need to listen. And that's why a lot of people like Bikram, because you're so busy listening to all the instructions and all the cues and adjusting your body according to what the teacher is saying that you really don't have time to think about anything else. Okay, where some people in Vinyasa can still think about what they're cooking for dinner or where their children are at the moment or what their dogs are doing or whatever. In Hot 26, I promise you don't have time to think about everything. You need to be focused and you need to listen, and it's quick. So there's no time to faff around at all. When I say quick, I don't mean we rush through it. Okay, it's just that you have to get your timing correct. And so you need to instruct according to the timing. Otherwise, you're not going to finish your class on time. And trust me, after people have been in an hour or especially a 90-minute Hot 26 class, they do not want to be kept for another 10, 15 minutes because you have buggered up your timing and you're now keeping them in class for longer because you haven't got your timing right and you didn't finish on time. Okay. I'm making it sound like it's absolutely terrible, but it's actually not. That's not that bad. Let's put it that way. It's really not. Okay. Right. So we've done the back bend, we do the forward fold, and then after that, you guess what? Shavasana, Bikram sit up, you turn around, you face the front, and you do seated head to knee, which is Janu Shirshasana. And like that standing head to knee, where the idea was to get your forehead onto your knee, the same thing applies in this pose. So if you can't get your forehead to your knee with your front leg, the one that's extended out in front of you with a straight knee, you bend the knee and you get your forehead to touch your knee. If your forehead is not touching your knee, you're not doing the pose. Okay, so that might very well be one of my cues. Get your forehead to touch your knee. If your forehead is not touching your knee, you're not doing the pose. And then if I see somebody that's still not doing, then I'll say, Karen or Susan or whatever, bend your front leg enough so that you can get your forehead to touch your knee, because trust me, you'll say something 10 times and some people still won't listen. Okay, in which case you might need to be specific about who you cueing with specific things. Forehead must touch the knee. Okay, so it's a little bit different to your Janu Shirshasana that you would do in a Vinyasa class, because if you can't get, you don't try and get your forehead to your knee, you think about lengthening your body instead of rounding. So again, a lot of spinal flexion. Can you see that rounding in the spine? As opposed to lengthening in your Janu Shirshasana, you round and you fold in and your forehead touches your knee. Okay, you do both sides, right and left. Then you do seating stretch, which is your Paschimottanasana. Specific peace finger bind, so middle finger, index finger, and thumb. Peace finger bind around the big toe. And you are drawing yourself towards your feet and drawing your elbows down towards the floor, and you don't tuck your chin, you look forward. So you will see yourself in the mirror when you do this pose in Hot 26. Maybe not so much in vinyasa where you can tuck your chin or whatever the teacher instructs you to do. Okay. Right, last one. Not last one, second last one. Seated spinal twist, your Ardha Matsyendrasana. Basically the same as any seated twist that you would do, except this is an advanced, not an advanced, but the way that this twist should be done is you should be able to reach down with your arm that's crossing over in front of the front leg and hold your bottom knee. And then take the arm that is normally on the floor behind you for support and wrap it around your lower back. So it's almost like a little half bind. Okay. Most people will have, in this case, it's her left hand, will have the left hand on the floor behind them, and they will have their elbow on their knee like a little stop sign. Okay, because it's quite difficult to get into this specific shape, but this is the Hot 26 seated spinal twist as it should be done. Okay, last one, Kapalabhati breathing. Does everybody know what Kapalabhati, have you done Kapalabhati breathing? Okay, so Kapalabhati breathing is that forced exhalation by snapping the belly in and breathing the air out. In Hot 26, you breathe out with an open mouth, whereas Kapalabhati can be done with a closed mouth in Vinyasa. In Hot 26, the snapping of the navel and the shooting of the breath out of the body is done with an open mouth. So you actually hear everybody going shh, 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 shh. Okay. And then you have your traditional Shavasana, like you would do at the end of any class. Okay. Any questions about anything, guys? Timing, postures, teaching, whatever, anything you want to ask me, you can ask, and I will try and answer it to the best of my ability. No. Good. Hang on a sec. Sorry. Is anybody thinking about teaching Hot 26 or not? Yes, that's Devin. Okay. Anybody else thinking about teaching Hot 26 maybe? No? Yeah? Okay. I don't know you guys because I haven't been on the course with you. So I don't know how many of you are actually just doing the teacher training course for your own practice or whether you are going to teach. Some of you may even have your own idea of setting up your own studio. But there is such a shortage of Hot 26 teachers, specifically in Cape Town, because most of the studios, when they put Hot 26 on the schedule, they tend to put it at the same time at all the studios. So if you have a teacher that's sick, say at Yoga Spirit, and you want to try and find cover for that Hot 26 class, you battle because Yoga Zone has got their Hot 26 at the same time, and wherever else, I'm trying to think, B Yoga in Takai has got their Hot 26 at the same time. So it's difficult to find a substitute teacher. So my first teacher training, I did 200-hour, and we learned all three types of yoga. We did Vinyasa, we did Ashtanga, and we did Hot 26. So we were taught how to teach all three of those. Okay. I didn't get my first job teaching a Vinyasa because there are so many Vinyasa teachers out there. The market is practically flooded. Owners of studios get emails all day from teachers, newly qualified, wanting to come and teach Vinyasa. And most of the time the answer is, well, first of all, you come and practice at the studio. And second of all, I'm sorry, but we actually full. Okay. So I got my first teaching job teaching Hot 26 because I'll tell you why. Once you know the sequence and you know the timing, you've got it. So I can get a phone call now and the teacher, the owner of the studio can say, I need someone to teach Hot 26 in half an hour. Can you come? And I can go, yes, absolutely. Get in my car, go to the studio. I know the sequence. I've taught it. I've done it. And it's easy. I can walk in and I can teach it. I don't have to think about it. Whereas if I am doing a Vinyasa, and let's say I do the same sequence, Vinyasa sequence for a week, and then I change it. But during the week, I'm sort of planning in my mind about how I'm going to change it. So if you catch me on a day, and I don't do Sunday to Sunday, I do maybe Wednesday to Wednesday. So I'll teach the same sequence from Wednesday to Wednesday. If you catch me on a Wednesday or a Thursday morning or something where I haven't quite got my sequence for the next week set up and I'm not 100% confident in my sequence, then it's going to be tricky for me to walk in and teach a sequence with confidence. Okay, if I haven't prepared it well enough. And if you're like me, a little bit ADD, it has to be perfect. Not that I always deliver perfect, most definitely not, but I like my sequences to be spot on. And if it's not spot on, I'm not confident teaching it. So Hot 26 is easy. I know the timing, I know the heat, I know how to manage it, I know the cues, because you learn the cues basically off pats, and that is how you teach it. So the first teaching job I got was literally, I was phoned and said, okay, I've heard that you teach Hot 26. I've never been to the studio in my life. Can you come? I need to teach in half an hour. And I went and I taught, and then they put me on the schedule. And that happened at 3 studios, Hot 26, no vinyasa. And after 6 months, I went to the studio owner and I said, okay, I am only going to teach your Hot 26 if you give me a vinyasa slot as well, which they did. I'm very lucky because vinyasa is what I love teaching more than anything else. Okay, so my advice to you is don't think that you can just teach vinyasa and that's going to be your thing and you're going to walk into a studio and get a job. It's not that easy. So my advice to you is try and think about other things that you can teach, that you can add to your almost your CV. And Hot 26 is a good one because you know the sequence once you've been taught how to teach it, and you don't forget it once you've taught it a few times, I promise you. Any questions? Okay, so
Excuse me, I have a question.
who is that?
It's Zoe.
Okay, so, oh, there you are, Zoe. So I've got like all of you on the one screen. I have to find. Okay, Zoe. Yes.
Okay, my question is about timing. I feel like it might be the most difficult portion to catch or get. How exactly do we figure out?
That is such a good question.
Yeah.
How do you figure out your time? It's such a good question. I'm going to tell you now.
David altijd mijn klas gegee bij yoga.
Sorry, somebody said something. Okay, so it's
Sorry.
okay. No, don't worry. It's a very good question, and the way that you do it is, everybody talks at a different speed. Some teachers talk very slowly. I tend to talk a little bit quicker. So what you do is you time how many cues you say or you need to say to fill up a minute. Okay. So in other words, if I've got somebody in half moon and I know that I need to have them there for a minute, I talk it out. So I'll say things like, press the palms of your hands firmly together. Extend through the arms. Sorry, just give me a sec. Sorry. No, man, come on, you guys. Sorry. So I'll say, palms of the hands pressed firmly together, and I'll give them time to do that. Extend fully through the elbows, in other words, straighten your arms, and I'll give them time to do that. Then I might say, send your left hip slightly outside your left foot so that you're leaning more over towards the right hand side. And I will time how many cues I say in a minute. Okay. So I know if I say those 5 cues in the speed that I talk, it's going to last a minute. Okay. Then you swap to the other side. So you do right and you do left. So if I cued from the top down on the right hand side, I will then cue from the bottom up on the left hand side. So it's not the same thing. I don't want to say the same thing on both sides because that's boring. Okay. And you want to get people to adjust their bodies differently so that they know where they need to do better or where they can go hard or where they can go deeper. So I'll instruct from the bottom up and I'll just try and change what I'm saying just a little bit, but it'll be the same number approximately of cues that I know take me a minute. And eventually, Zoe, when you've done it a few times, you know, okay, I've said those 5 cues, I've been there for a minute, because you can't walk around looking at your watch. Okay, you can't time looking at your watch because you are teaching. You've got to cue your students. Sorry, this is you guys. Come. You have to cue your students according to what you're seeing. Remember, you're still a teacher. So if I'm looking at my watch and somebody is, I don't know, upside down in something where they shouldn't be and they're going to hurt themselves, I need to see that. And I can't see it if I'm walking around looking at my watch. Okay, so that is how you actually train yourself, and it comes with practice. You know how long it takes you, and then I know, okay, if I say 3 cues, that lasts me 30 seconds. So you learn to work out by your speed of your talk, how you talk, how long you need to hold the poses. Some of them, like standing bow pulling pose, where you do 2 sets. The first set is a minute. Okay, you talk through the cues a minute. The second set we do a silent 30 seconds. And for that one only, I will look at my watch because I'm not cueing anything. It's a silent set. I've cued everything in the first minute. So when we do it the second time around, I don't need to cue it again. People know where they're going. And it's actually because it's such an accessible pose, your dancers, in other words, most people can do it. It's not difficult. We let them do a second silent set. And for that one, I'll say your 30 seconds starts now, and I'll look at my watch and I'll count them down towards the end. So I know that is spot on. But the rest of the time, you can't walk around looking at your watch. Okay, very good question, Zoe. Very good. Because if you learn to teach Hot 26, you have to practice that so you know how long you take. Okay. Any other questions?
For learning for Hot 26, is there any specific courses that you do in addition to this one, or as like an add-on?
Yes, myself and Penny, I think you haven't met Penny yet. We run a Hot 26 teacher training course. We're running the next one in September. We did one pre-COVID, and then of course we couldn't do one because of COVID. And I think we had 14 people, and it was amazing. And out of those 14 people, I think 6 of them are teaching Hot 26 at studios. So they all literally walked out, and literally, I'm not kidding, some of them walked straight into teaching jobs. So if you're interested, look on the website, please. It's a 40-hour course. So it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday intensive. Then you're done. It's registered with Yoga Alliance. So it's not a Mickey Mouse course. If you are a registered yoga teacher, you've done your 200-hour teaching and you get this Hot 26 qualification, you are allowed to teach Hot 26 at a studio. Okay. And really, guys, I'm not just pushing it because we teach it. The sequence is brilliant. Once you know it and you know how to teach it, you've got it. And I promise you, for a lot of the studios, as I said, there are so many vinyasa teachers, they don't want another one unless there's something absolutely brilliant about you or your teaching. So you need to start with something that you can offer that maybe other people don't. Okay. And the same goes for if you want to teach Ashtanga. I mean, I'm not just saying Hot 26, but try and add more things to your CV so that you give yourself more opportunities to be able to teach. Does that make sense? Okay. Any other questions? No.
I have a quick question about the heat of the room.
Mm-hmm.
So is there like a specific temperature? I know it's like between, I've been in some really, really hot rooms.
Okay. Yeah, good question, because some studios have absolutely, I don't want to say diabolical, that's the wrong word, hectic heating systems. And other studios, it's not quite so bad. So it is quite tricky, but basically you need to try and keep that room at 40 degrees. Okay. The humidity, 60% humidity, the humidity does not stay on the entire class. Okay. Oopsie. Sorry, I've just lost you all. Oh, shit. Oh, sorry. I'm swearing as well. Sorry. I thought I'd lost you guys. Okay, so if I'm in the class and I'm looking, the little temperature dial at the front of the class normally tells you what the temperature is. So you set it to 40 degrees because that's what you wanted to get up to, and you put the humidity on. If I can see that it's going 41, 42, I don't want to cook everybody. I switch the humidity off, because the humidity is what gets the heat higher. You can do a heated class without humidity, and if you haven't got a lot of people in that class, it's not going to get up to that high temperature. The humidity pumps the temperature up higher. So we switch the humidity off, and then if I see, oh, the temperature is dropping and it's below 40, I put the humidifier back on. So that's another thing that you're doing. That's why you can't be looking at your watch. You're looking at the heat, you're monitoring. You can't have everybody flaking out and falling on the floor and whatever. You still got to get them through the sequence. Okay, so 40 degrees, you try and keep it at that. Look, if it goes slightly over and slightly under, it's not the end of the world. You can't have something that's specifically and exactly on 40 degrees for 90 minutes. If you can, that's brilliant, but that's basically nearly impossible. But that's the idea, 40 degrees and 60% humidity. Okay, and if it gets too hot, you switch the humidity off, because trust me, it's hot enough at 40. You really don't want to push it much further, much higher than that. Okay, and that's not the idea. Okay.
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 Thanks.
Anybody else?
Mhm.
No? Okay, good. All right, I'm just going to close the door just in a second. Okay, so just have a break. We'll just have a break for, okay, I need to say we're going to start at about 15:15. Have a break for a few minutes, have a sip of water, just digest all of this, because we're going to now do a class. And as I said to you, I'm not going to do two of every posture. It'll take too long, because I'm going to slow it down so that you guys can listen and hear what's going on. So we're just going to do one set so you can get a feel for it. And then at the end, you can tell me how you feel. You can ask me any questions. Pick my brain. That's why I'm here. I will help you as much as I can. Any questions you like, even if it sounds like it's stupid, doesn't matter. Please ask me. Okay. Right. So let's just have a little break. Have a sip of water. Okay. I'm just looking at this Facebook Bikram Yoga headquarters. And if you have a chance, you really must go and have a look at the posts, because they absolutely, most of them, well, I think that's the whole idea of this Facebook page, is they absolutely idolize Bikram Choudhury himself. They even put photos of him and his students. That's a guy that lost a lot of weight doing Hot 26 apparently. So they put photos of him and his previous students on. They put quotes on. It's very interesting, because as much as we think, oh, everybody must think he's absolutely terrible. No, not everybody does. Some people still think he's marvelous. And as I said, the sequence is brilliant. but he's not such a nice person. So if you want to have a look, it's Bikram Yoga Headquarters Los Angeles. That's what the Facebook page looks like. And if you're interested, just go and have a look. It also posts a lot of pictures of people doing the poses. So you can, it's actually quite interesting to see. Yeah, it's just really interesting to see how this Hot 26 is still going. They post pictures of people doing the poses in the classes. And by the way, did you know that there's an advanced Bikram sequence and it's 84 postures? And don't ask me what that is. It's 84 postures. Advanced Bikram sequence is 84 postures. Got no idea what that is. I think some of them are quite hectic from what I've seen in the past. But yeah, so just go and have a look at that Facebook page and just see how popular Hot 26 is. And I sometimes get asked when that documentary came out, okay, everybody, the studios around the whole world, as far as I know, changed the name from Bikram to Hot 26 as we did here. And I often get asked, oh, gee, your classes must have died. You must have had nobody come into your classes. No, that did not happen at all. If we had 2 people out of 50 that didn't come back, sorry, I'm just going to wait for my internet. If we had 2 people out of 50 that didn't come back because they didn't like Chowdhury, the man, that is it. So people that like Hot 26, that like Bikram, are going to practice it no matter what. Because everybody thought after that documentary, Hot 26 is going to die. Nobody's going to want to practice it. It was just as busy as ever. So it didn't affect the class size. It didn't affect the people, didn't stop people coming. People still practice. Okay, right. Let's get started. You're going to stand at the top of your mat. So facing the front of your mat. But actually you can face me for the first breathing exercise because you guys need to see what you're doing. Okay, so you're going to be standing up and I'm going to demonstrate it for you. Okay, can you all see me if I stand back on the mat there? Can you see me or am I too far away? Okay, can you guys see me if I stand on the mat?
Yes.
Yeah, it looks fine.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. So first breathing exercise, don't do it yet. I'm going to demonstrate it first for you and then we'll do it together. So the cue is feet together, big toes touch, heels together. Interlace all 10 fingers. Place the first 2 knuckles underneath your chin. Listen to the cueing because this is exactly how it's cued. Try and bring your elbows closer together. With your tummy in, tuck your tailbone under, your spine is straight. Inhalations are through the nose, exhalations are out through the mouth. This is what it looks like. I breathe in through my nose for 6 seconds. So it's a slow 6-second count. As I'm breathing in through my nose, I lift my elbows up, as high as I can, and then I stop when my lungs are full. Okay? Then I'm going to breathe out for 6 seconds, and I'm going to show you from the side. It looks like this. I'm going to take my head back. And as I'm breathing out of my mouth, I'm going to slowly bring the wrists, forearms, and elbows to touch. And now my lungs are empty. Then I'm going to start again. I'm going to slowly, for 6 seconds, breathe in, get the chin parallel to the floor, lift the elbows up. And then my exhale breath, I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to bring wrists, forearms, elbows to touch as I breathe the air out of my lungs. Okay? So, close up. Your inhalations is 6 seconds. You lift the elbows up. You keep the knuckles connected to the chin. You open your mouth. As you're breathing out, you bring wrists, forearms, and elbows to touch. And that you do 10 times. And each inhalation is 6 seconds. And each exhalation is 6 seconds. Okay. Let's try. So stand on your mat. Big toes touching. Heels together. We move as a group, listen to the counts, and try and stretch your breath for 6 seconds by breathing with a bit of a constriction at the back of the throat, okay? Interlace all 10 fingers. Place the first 2 knuckles underneath your chin. Bring your elbows closer together and stand up tall. So pull your tummy in and tuck your tailbone under. Okay, let's begin. Inhale, slowly lift your elbows up. As you're lifting your elbows up, you breathe in through the nose, lift the elbows up, let your arms frame your face, and at the top, you hold. Exhale, you let your head tip back. As you're breathing out through the mouth, you slowly bring wrists, forearms, and elbows to touch. As your elbows touch, you empty your lungs. Don't move. We go now. Inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Elbows high. Exhale for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Elbows touch. You've got it. Inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Pause. Exhale for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause on empty. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Elbows high. Exhale for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Elbows touch. Inhale. As you inhale, you let your chin come parallel to the floor. Lift your elbows up as you're breathing in. Keep going. Elbows high all the way up. Your lungs are now full. Exhale. Open your mouth. Tip your head back. As you're breathing out, bring your wrists, forearms, and elbows touch. Your elbows are away from your chest. Good. Inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold. Exhale for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause. Last one. Inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold on full. Exhale for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Change. Arms down by your sides. Relax your shoulders. Well done. Right, next posture is Ardha Chandrasana half moon. Take your arms up over your head, and I want you to take this bind with your hands. Interlace your fingers, release the index finger, and keep your thumbs crossed. Okay, like a little Kali Mudra. Okay, your arms are overhead. Okay, with me, as you breathe in, you stretch up like you're trying to touch the ceiling. As you exhale, you side bend over towards your right. And then come through the middle and take a side bend over towards your left. Just get a feel for that. Do that a few times, like you're tick-tocking the body from side to side. Good. We do a little bit of a warm-up before we actually go in and hold it, because we're going to be holding it for a while. Good. Nice. Okay. Bring yourself back to the center. Make sure you have that bind with your fingers, arms up over your head. Try and bring your shoulders slightly behind your ears or in line with your ears. Good. Pull your tummy in. Keep your face soft. Okay, here we go. Listen to the instructions. Take a big breath in. Stretch your fingertips up like you're trying to touch the ceiling. As you exhale, you side bend to your right-hand side. And now you hold it and you breathe and you listen. Press the palms of your hands firmly together. Lock your elbows, think strong, straight arms. Good. Can you push your left hip slightly outside your left foot? Yes, so you're leaning more over and then drawing your body over towards the right-hand side. Good. Keep your arms in line with your ears. Lift your chin up a little bit away from your chest to make a little bit of space. Good. And all the time while you're holding this, you breathe with a calm face. And you try and pull a little bit harder with the top hand so that you can stretch that side body even more. Good. Hold it. Find your edge. Come down a little bit more with your hands and hold for 3, 2, 1, and change up through center. Good. As you inhale, stretch your fingertips up. Try and touch the ceiling. Your arms stay. Side bend over towards your left as you exhale. And now you're going to hold. Focus on your feet now. Press down firmly through both feet. Body weight is in your heels. Make sure your legs are strong. So you use the quads to pull the kneecaps up. Tuck your tailbone. Pull your tummy in. Come back to your arms now. Strong and straight. Palms of your hands pressed firmly together. Keep your arms in line with your ears. Good. Try and drag your fingertips a little bit more behind you towards the left backhand corner of your room. Good. Keep your face soft, lift your chin up a little bit and make sure you're breathing. And now bump your hips over towards your right a little bit more. Find your edge, come down a little bit more and hold for 3, 2, 1, and change up through the center. Change. Yes. Okay. Keep your arms where they are. Keep them overhead. Keep them overhead. You're standing up in the middle. Stand up through the center. In the center, Zoe, Paula, you're standing up straight through the middle. Zoe, come back to the middle. Good. We're now doing a back bend. Okay. So as you inhale, you look up at your hands. And then as you exhale, you bend over backwards. You send your tummy, hips, and thighs forward, and you keep your legs straight. Yes. Who's that? Nice, Hanali. Keep your arms in line with your ears and bend back as far as you can. So think about standing back bend. And then change. You can bring yourself up through the center. Do forward fold, bend your knees. Reach the arms out ahead of you and take your fingertips all the way down to the floor. You've got it. Once you're there, release that bind in your hands and bend the knees one at a time so you can move the hips from side to side. So it'll like wriggle in the lower back. So the aim here is to make sure your lower back is comfortable. Good. Okay, we move on. We're standing hands to feet. So put a little bend in your knees. Take your hands, slide them down the back of your calf muscles and take a grip underneath your heels from the back. So you're standing on your fingertips and all 10 of your fingers face forward. Okay, you're here. Okay. Relax your neck. So let your head hang heavy. Yep, you're there, you're there, you're there. Okay. So you're all here in this forward fold. Let your neck hang heavy. Now pull on your heels, lift your hips and try and straighten your legs, but don't let your tummy and your chest move away from your thighs. Beautiful, guys. Good. Now you hold it. You keep pulling on your heels. You keep lifting your hips up and you work to straighten your legs, but tummy and chest stay connected to your thighs. Hang your head heavy. Try and tuck your elbows closer behind your knees. Make sure you're breathing. Hold. Good. To change, reach the arms forward ahead of you. Take that bind with your fingertips. Bend your knees. The long flat back, you rise all the way up to standing. Angelique, that was beautiful. Yes, guys. And then relax your arms down by your sides. Give your arms and your shoulders a break. Very nice. Okay, we're going to move straight on with awkward squat, Utkatasana. So step your right foot out about 6 inches on your mat so your feet are hip width distance apart. Lift your arms up parallel to the floor. Reach your fingertips forward ahead of you. And you keep your arms as they are. You take a deep breath in. As you breathe out, sit down like you're sitting into a chair behind you. So send your sitting bones and your hips back and keep the arms facing straight forward. And now you hold it. Listen to the instructions. Keep the arms parallel to the floor. Don't drop them. Even though you're reaching the arms forward, can you pull your shoulders back and slide them down? Good. Keep your arms parallel to the floor. Don't drop your arms. Sitting bones are back. Body weight is in your heels. Now, can you take a little lift of your chest so you're not hanging over your legs? Beautiful. Sit your sitting bones down and sit your body weight back into your heels. And now you hold it just for 3, 2, 1. Change. Straighten your legs. You keep your arms where they are. Second part. Lift your heels up. You're balancing on your toes. Okay. You stay for the breath in. And then you bend your knees, keeping your spine straight. You're going to drop your hips down with your heels lifted until your hips are just above your knees. Your arms stay parallel to the floor. And you keep that bend in your knees. Good. Keep your heels lifted. Lift your right heel up, up, up. Lift your left heel up, up, up. Good. Now you hold it. 3, 2, 1. Change. Straighten your legs first and then lower your heels down. Good. Your arms stay. They're still out in front of you. Okay. Last part. You're going to bring your knees and thighs to touch without moving your feet. Squeeze them together. Lean slightly forward. Let your heels just float off the floor. Then slowly you're going to lower all the way down. Keep your arms parallel to the floor and lean back so you're stacking your shoulders over your hips. Go all the way down until your sitting bones just float off your heels. Hold it. Squeeze knees and thighs together. Good. You're going to come up slowly with me. You come up for 3, 2, 1, and change. Feet together, hands down by your sides. Good. Well done, you guys. Okay. Third posture. Remember now we're doing 2 sets of everything. So you would have done 2 sets of those as well, but we're only going to do 1. Third warm-up posture is eagle. Take your arms up above your head. Bring the palms of your hands to touch. Eagle your right arm underneath your left and wrap the arms up nice and tight. So it's your traditional eagle bind. Good. Now bend your knees, sit low, like you're sitting into a low chair. So stick your bottom out. Now you keep your knees bent. Lift the right leg up and cross the right leg over the left for your eagle Garudasana. Good. Now you hinge forward at the hips a little, but you keep your spine straight. Pull the tummy in. Good. Now pull your elbows down towards your belly button. Yes, without rounding your spine. Good. And then squeeze your arms, squeeze your legs, squeeze everything together. Sink a little bit lower. Drop your bottom just a little if you can, and then you hold. Very nice. Change. Arms up above your head. Stand up straight. Palms of your hands touch. Take a breath in. Straight away, eagle your left arm underneath your right. Wrap the arms up nice and tight. Breath out. Bend your knees. Sit down into a low chair. So sit your body weight back. Now you keep the knees bent. Lift your left leg up and cross it over the right. Try and hook the foot behind the calf muscle or point it towards the back of the room. It helps if you bend your standing leg to get that hook of the foot behind your calf. Good. Again, now you want to pull your belly in, lean slightly forward at the hip joint. That looks amazing, guys. Pull your elbows in towards your belly button. So if you have a mirror in front of you, you will see your eyes above your fingertips in the mirror. Good. Now keep your balance. Can you bend your standing leg and drop your hips a little bit more? And now hold it. Beautiful. Change. Arms up above your head, palms of your hands touch as you breathe in. Nice. And then relax your arms down by your sides on the breath out. Good. Okay, that is the end of the warm-up sequence. So now, if you want a little sip of water, have a quick little sip. If not, we're moving straight on. I'll give you 5 seconds. Okay, we're moving on. Our standing sequence. We start with standing separate head to knee. First set, we're going to stay in the beginner's pose. Feet together, big toes touch, heels touching. Stand on your left foot. Pull your right leg up in front of you, your thighs parallel to the floor, and flex the right toes. Make sure your standing leg is straight. Okay, right now. Fold forward over that front leg, interlace all 10 fingers, and take that bind underneath the ball of your foot. Once you have that, make sure your standing leg is straight, and then lower the left knee just a little until you feel that your thigh is parallel to the floor. Bring that right heel slightly forward until your heel is underneath your knee. And you're going to hold it with a straight standing leg. Can you shift your gaze slightly forward? So you're looking slightly forward ahead of the front of your mat. And now draw your shoulders away from your ears. So you draw them back in space. You guys keep holding and you keep breathing. Your fingertips, that bind is still underneath the ball of your foot. Yep, we're holding. Hold it, hold it. Good, good. Hold it. Yes, balance is tricky. We're going to be here for about another 5 seconds. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and change. Feet together, hands down by your sides. Not easy. Beautifully done. Do the same thing on the other side. We're not kicking out. Stand on your right foot. Bend your left knee up in front of you, thigh parallel to the floor. Start there. Don't interlace your hands. Your hands are down by your side. Just don't interlace your hands. Zoe, just stand up. Yes. So stand up straight. You start there. Make sure your standing leg is straight. Flex the front toes. Yes. Now fold forward, interlace your hands, and take a bind underneath the ball of your left foot. Check where your thumb is. Your thumbs are, rather. If they're on top of your foot, get them underneath. It's a 10-finger bind. Good. Now lower the left leg a little so that your thigh is parallel to the floor. Good. And bring that left heel slightly forward. Your heel is underneath your knee. Now you're going to hold it. So concentrate, focus, and breathe. Some instructions to help you. Draw your shoulders back away from your ears so you take tension out of the neck. Pull your tummy in and lift it up so you take tension out of your lower back. Keep that foot that's in your hands light as you can. Good. And now we hold. 5. Straighten your standing leg. 4, 3, 2, 1, and change. Beautiful, guys. Feet together, hands down by your sides. Honey, that's amazing. Okay. We're going to try the version where you kick out. Remember, if your leg hangs down to the floor, please come back to the pose that you've just stayed in. Big breaths in and out of the nose. Your lips are sealed and you're breathing. Stand on your left leg. Pull the right knee up in front of you, thigh parallel to the floor, flex the front toes. Quick as you can, fold over that front leg now, round your spine, take an interlace of all 10 fingers underneath the ball of your right foot. Don't kick out yet. Straighten your standing leg. Lower that right leg so that your knee is parallel to the floor. Good. Okay, now you start to kick that leg forward, and as you do that, you take a little lift of your chest. See if you can get that front leg parallel to the floor. Beautiful. Now pull on the toes, tuck your elbows underneath your calf muscle, round your spine, shoulders down, head down. Maybe you can tuck your chin and get your forehead to touch your knee. Gaze down at your standing foot. That's the tricky part. Yes. Beautiful. And change. Well done. Feet together, hands down by your side. Stand up tall. Good. Well done. It's not easy. Okay. Last side, guys. Here we go. Stand on your right foot. Bend your left knee up in front of you. Thigh parallel to the floor. Start there. Easy. Flex the left toes. Don't move. Now, fold forward, round your back and take a 10-finger bind underneath the ball of that front foot. Then lower the left knee. Make sure your standing leg is straight. And now start to kick that left leg forward. Lift the chest so you make a little bit of space. Good. Front leg parallel to the floor, standing leg straight. Pull on your toes. Tuck your elbows underneath your knees so you're folding over that front leg. And then get your forehead to touch your knee. Nice, Valerie. Beautiful, you guys. Nice, Angelique and Britta. Hold. Nice, Latemba. And change. Feet together, hands down by your sides. Well done, you guys. Take big breaths in and out of your nose. Feet together, hands down. Big toes touch, heels touch it. Good. Okay. Standing bow pulling pose. You stand on both of your feet. Then lift your right heel up behind you. Sorry, bring your foot down. That's the wrong cue. Bring your right elbow into your waist with the palm of your hand facing upwards. Without closing off your shoulder, in other words, without bringing that shoulder into internal rotation, you're going to lift the right leg up behind you and take a grip on your ankle from the inside of your foot. Bring your knees and thighs together. Lift your left arm up and get the palm of your hand to face forward. Okay, slowly stretch up through the left-hand side as you breathe in. As you breathe out, start to kick the right leg away from you. Kick it even higher. Let your right shoulder disappear behind you a little. Kick it even higher. When you can't kick anymore, start to drop your body down. Try and get your tummy and your chest parallel to the floor and reach the left arm ahead of you. And then see if you can look over your left fingers. Keep kicking that back foot hard and back up into your hand and try and roll the right hip down so that your hips are level and square. Check that your balance on your left leg is nice and stable and strong. Good. Can you soften your face and keep breathing? We're going to hold it, guys. See how long you can stay in the pose. Kick hard and back and reach forward long and strong with your left hand. Good. Let's see if we can hold it for another 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and change. Well done. Feet together, hands down by your sides. Big breaths in and out of your nose. Okay, now think if you had to hold that for a minute, would you be able to do it? Bring your left elbow into your waist, palm of your hand faces up. Lift your left leg up behind you, grip your ankle from the inside. Knees and thighs touch. Right arm up in line with your ear, palm of your hand faces forward. Go slow. We haven't moved anywhere yet. You take a big breath in, you stretch the right fingertips up nice and high. As you breathe out, you start to kick the left leg up and back behind you, and then you keep breathing as you go a little bit deeper. Kick that left leg up as high as you can. High, high, high. Yes, get your thigh away from your standing leg. When you can't kick anymore, slowly start to tip the upper body down, nice Howard, until your tummy and chest are parallel to the floor. And now drop your left hip down so that your hips are level and square. Keep going. If you fall out, you come back in. Kick that foot hard and back into your hand. Reach the right arm forward, palm of your hand faces down. Can you look over your right fingertips? Try not to look down. Good. Now breathe. We're going to hold it for 5 seconds. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and change. Feet together, hands down. Well done, you guys. It's not easy. Well done. Make sure you're breathing in and out of your nose. Good. Hey, Tula Nandasana, standing balancing stick. Can you take a few steps towards the back of your mat? So you're facing the front of your mat, the short edge. Good. Feet together, big toes touch, heels touch, arms down by your sides. Take your arms up over your head, straight arms, but you take that same grip with your hands. Interlace your fingers, release the index finger. Your thumbs are crossed and your arms are in line with your ears. You keep them in line with your ears. Take a big step forward on your right foot. Step forward on your right foot and hover the left toes just off the floor. And then dive your body down. Think capital T shape. I want your upper body parallel to the floor and the left leg up in the air parallel to the floor as well. Good. Keep your ears in line with your bicep muscles. So try and lift the arms up enough to do that. Good. Beautiful. Who was that? Kylie. Beautiful. Pull your tummy in. And then that back leg, can you point the toes and kick that foot behind you and reach your fingertips far forward? Now you hold it and change. Step the feet back. Keep your arms up above your ears. Feet together. Good. Hey, arms up. Take that by. Nothing moves there. Good. Take a big step forward with your left foot. Hover your right toes just off the floor. When you're ready, you tip the body down, capital T shape. So tummy, upper chest, parallel to the mat, and right leg parallel to the floor as well. Good. Once you've got that right leg up, don't drop it. Work the hamstring, work the glute. Beautiful. Now reach your fingertips as far forward as you can. Point the back foot and kick the foot back behind you. Hold it. Change. Very nice. Step your feet back together. Beautiful, guys. Hands down by your sides. Breathe. Very nice. Okay. Can you turn to face the long edge of your mat? Feet together. Big toes touch, heels touch. Okay. Take your arms up overhead, palms of your hands touch. Then on your right foot, hopefully you can step your right foot out towards the back of your mat, nice and wide. Keep your toes parallel. Lower your arms to a T and get the palms of your hands to face down. Good. Okay, nice and strong and straight in your legs. As you inhale, take a lift of your chest. And as you exhale, keep your spine straight and dive all the way down. And then take a grip behind your heels from the back. Don't stand on your fingers, just grip your heels from behind you. Now, don't tuck your chin. Lift your chin. You're looking at the top edge of your mat and your toes are parallel. Good. Now, use your legs, bend your arms, pull your elbows closer towards your shins and try and drag your forehead down to the floor as much as you can. Think long spine, relax into your shape. Beautiful. Good. To change, keep the arms up nice and wide. You're going to lift yourself all the way up. Nice. Palms of your hands touch. Step your feet together. So step the right foot back to meet the left. And then lower your hands down by your sides and catch your breath. Good. Hey, triangle, Trikonasana, arms up, palms of your hands touch. Step your right foot out towards the back of the mat, nice and wide. Lower your hands to a T and turn the palms of your hands to face forward. Now turn your right toes out 90 degrees so they face towards the back of your mat. And then bend your right knee and see if you can maybe just bounce into it a couple of times. And then stop and check that your right knee is over your right ankle. Keep that bend in your knee. Reach forward over that front leg. And then tilt the body down. So your right arm comes down, elbow in front of the knee, and your left arm reaches straight up towards the ceiling. Good. Now you hold. Push your right elbow into your right knee so that the knee stays open. You're looking up at your top hand, and your right fingertips, the ones at the bottom, are just floating off the floor. So it's almost like a form of human traction. As you stretch the left arm up, you stretch the right arm down. Pull your tummy in, make sure there's no back bend, and now you hold it. Make sure you breathe it. 3, 2, 1, and change. Good. Come up through the center, straighten that right leg and turn the right toes in. Turn the left toes out 90 degrees. And then you're going to bend nice and low into that left leg. So you should be facing the front of your mat. Good. Do the same thing again. Bounce into it a couple of times to get a feel for that opening up in your hip. Good. And then settle with your left knee over your ankle. Your arms are out nice and wide. Hold that, reach over that left leg and tip the body down. You've got it. Left hand down, float the fingertips off the floor, right arm up. Can you bend your left knee a little bit more so that your thigh is parallel to the floor? Yes, guys, I know you can. Beautiful. Right arm straight up above your shoulder, gaze up at that top hand. Hover the left fingertips off the floor. That looks beautiful. Now find your breath. You need it. You hold it. 3, 2, 1. And change. Good. Beautiful. Come up through the center. Turn the left toes back in. Step your feet together, palms touch above your head. And then relax your arms down by your sides. Good. Okay, standing separate head to knee. Arms up, palms touch, cross just your thumbs. Step your right foot out towards the back of your mat. Then pivot on your toes and get everything to face towards the back. So square hips, they're facing straight towards the back of the mat. Yep. Okay, good. You're there. Left toes are out at about 45 degrees. Good. Keep that bun in your hands with your thumbs crossed. As you inhale, you stretch up tall. Then round your back, dive your fingertips all the way down to the floor in front of you. Beautiful. When your fingertips are on the floor, you get your forehead to touch your knee. So bend that knee as much as you need to. Tuck the chin right in, forehead to knee. Make sure your back leg is straight and your back heel is grounded. Good. To help you get that forehead to knee connection, can you suck your tummy in and lift it up and get your forehead a little bit higher? Hold it. Very nice. Good. To change, lift yourself up and out. You turn to face the front of your mat. Keep your arms up. You pivot on the toes. You face the back of your mat. Sorry, the front of your mat. So your left foot is now in front. Good. Same thing again. First of all, you inhale to stretch and reach up. Tuck your chin, dive, round your upper back, fingertips down to the floor, and then get your forehead to touch your knee. If you're losing your balance, you can separate your hands. Otherwise, you keep them together in prayer. Good. Bend the left knee as much as you need to. Forehead must touch your knee. Yep. So think about rounding through the upper back. Tuck your chin right in. Good. On this side, can you nudge your right hip slightly forward and your left hip slightly back? Yes. Hold it. Beautiful. And change. Come up and out slowly. Nice. Turn to face the front side of your mat. Bring the feet together, relax your arms down by your sides and catch your breath. Good. Okay, we would have a Shavasana. Actually, we need to do that. So we're not going to stay in Shavasana, but lie down on your mat, facing your head facing the front and your feet facing the back. So you're doing it the other way around to what you would normally do in Vinyasa. Okay, good. Just lie down on your back. I want you to just do the Bikram sit-up so you get a feel for it. Okay, so lying down on your back, good. Bring your feet together and flex your toes. Take your arms up overhead and cross just your thumbs. Good. Okay, take a deep breath in, hold that breath. Sit up to 90 degrees, still holding that breath. Good, and then double exhale out through your mouth as you reach forward for your toes. Your feet are on the floor. Yes, there we go. You've got it, Valerie. Nice. Okay, beautiful. Now turn around, lie on your tummy, face the front of your mat. Yes, yes. Okay, untuck your toes, tops of your feet are on the floor. Take your hands, place them underneath your shoulders, nice and light, and you can have your chin or your forehead on the mat. Empty all the air out of your lungs. As you inhale, lift your chest up into your cobra. Make sure you're not using your hands, keep them light. Can you shrug your shoulders down your back? Can you press the tops of your feet firmly into the floor, active legs? Good. Now, float your hands off the mat. Yes, good. And change. Lower everything down. Listen to this instruction. Put your left ear on the floor. You're facing the right-hand side of your mat. Take your arms and relax them alongside you. And then bring your big toes to touch and let your heels flop out. This is your resting pose in between. Good. Okay, there comes the uncomfortable one. You look forward, you place your chin on the floor. You take your arms, you turn the palms of your hands to face down, and you wriggle your arms underneath your body. Yes, so that your pinky fingers touch, elbows maybe even touch. Now you keep that shape. Become very hunchback through the upper back, round your upper back. If you have issues with your neck, you put your lips on the floor. Now bring the legs together. Yep, okay. Don't use your left leg. As you're ready now, lift your right leg off the floor, right leg up only. As high as you can, straighten the knee. Good. And then try and get the sole of your foot up towards the ceiling. But make sure you can feel that right hip on your right hand so you're not opening up the hip. Good. Lift that right leg up a little bit higher. And change. Right leg down. Good. Okay. Empty your lungs. As you inhale, lift your left leg up as high as you can. Left leg rises. Good. Think straight leg. Point the toes. Keep rounding your upper back. Push your arms down. That'll help you lift the leg a little bit more. Good. Lift the leg up a little bit higher, higher, higher. Zoe, don't use your bottom knee to do that. Relax that leg. Yes. And then change both feet down. Okay. This gets a little bit tricky. We'll do this slowly. Can you walk your hands closer down towards your feet? They're still underneath your body. It helps if you tuck your toes and take a little wriggle forward like a caterpillar so that your hands shift further down towards your feet. Good. Yes. Okay. Kiss the floor with your lips. Become very hunchback through the upper back and bring the legs together. Good. Now, don't move yet. You're going to kick both feet up. Don't move yet. You need to kick them up, guys. They're not going to float up by themselves. So it's a lot of hard work. We'll do it on an empty breath, like a Valsalva maneuver. Okay, stay with me. Take a deep breath in. Take a deep breath out. And now kick your legs up, both of them at the same time. Kick, 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 kick them up, kick them up, kick your legs up. Kick your legs up, yes, kick your legs up, yes, beautiful. Kick them up, 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 up. Nice, and change, lower them down, well done. Put your right ear on the floor, you're looking towards your left. Take your arms out from underneath you. Big toes touch, heels flop out, relax your arms, relax your body, relax everything. Well done. Good. Nice, you guys. Okay, just 2 more here. Okay, just 2 more here. You're going to look forward again. Place your chin on the floor. I think I've lost the connection. I think I've lost it. Okay. Okay. Look forward. Your chin is on the floor. Take your arms out wide like a capital T shape. So spread them out alongside you in line with your shoulders. Bring your feet together. Good. Empty your lungs. And then as you breathe in, fly everything up. Lift your arms, your chest, kick your legs up behind you. Good. Turn the palms of your hands to face forward. Lift your thumbs up a little bit higher. Lift your chest up higher. Lift your legs up higher. Fly all the way up, up, up. And change. Beautiful. Place your left ear on the floor. Look to the right. Good. Big toes touch, heels flop out. Thank you, my darling. You're such a star. Next line. Well done. Last one here. Look forward. Your chin is on the floor. Dhanurasana floor bow. Bend the knees behind you. Reach back with your hands, take a grip on the outside of your feet, just underneath your toes. Try and bring the knees and thighs close together. Start with your forehead or your chin on the floor. Empty the air out of your lungs. Now, as you inhale, you lift up into your floor bone, lift the chest and shoulders, and lift your legs up. Good. Now you hold it there. Can you balance on the soft part of your belly? Can you squeeze your shoulder blades closer together? Think about your quad muscles. Lift them higher off the floor. Yes, beautiful. Hold it. And change, lower all the way down. Really nice. Good. Right ear to the floor. You're looking towards your left. Relax your arms down by your sides. Big toes touch, heels flop out. Good. Catch your breath. All right, you need to listen carefully to the next instructions. Look forward, your chin is on the floor. Take your hands underneath your shoulders. And you're going to push yourself to a kneeling seat, but just crawl slightly forward on your mat so that you're in the middle of your mat. So you're kneeling and your sitting bones are on your heels. Yes. Okay, so you're sitting, kneeling. Yeah, good. Okay, just like that. Okay, here comes your Virasana, your hero pose. Please listen to your body. If it's not comfortable for your body, you don't do it. You're going to keep you sitting on your sitting bones, but try and take your feet outside your hips and see if you can sit your sitting bones flat down between your heels. You can separate the knees, but don't let the knees lift off the floor. If you are uncomfortable with the heels outside your hips, you bring the feet together and you sit on your heels and you stay. Okay, good. If you're comfortable there, hold on to your feet with your hands. And then slowly you're going to lower one elbow and then the other elbow. If you're comfortable, you can lower your whole body down. Mindful, please. Good. If you're sitting, hold opposite elbows and pull them apart. If you're lying down, you do the same with your arms over your head. You hold opposite elbows and you pull them apart. And then you look for a little upper back bend through the upper chest without taking it into your lower back. Not if you're staying up. So you just stay. Good. If you're lying down, you take a little upper back bend. Good. And now you just breathe. And for those of you who are comfortable, you can probably stay here for quite a while. Good. All right, you're going to change slowly. Come up onto one elbow, then the other elbow, holding your feet. Lift yourself up and out. Good. Let's add in a little reset. Shavasana, turn around, head towards the front, feet towards the back. And you do this quickly because the quicker you get in, the longer you have to settle because these Shavasanas aren't long. So you don't want to waste time. Stretch your legs out, relax your arms down by your sides. Let some blood flow return to the bottom of the legs. Good. Bikram sit up, feet together, flex your toes. Take your arms up overhead, cross just your thumbs. Take a deep breath in, hold that breath. Sit up to 90 degrees. Double exhale, reach for your toes. Yes, well done guys. Turn around, face in front of your mat and sit kneeling, knees together, sitting bones on your heels. You're there. Okay, arms up overhead, palms of your hands touch, cross just your thumbs. Try and keep your sitting bones on your heels all the time. Stay for an inhale, stretch your fingertips up high. And then slowly you're going to fold forward over your thighs and land your fingertips to the floor. But try and keep your sitting bones on your heels. Even as you're lowering, try and keep your sitting bones on your heels. Good. So fingertips down long in front of you. Howard, see if you can get your tummy and your chest on your thighs. Think child's pose. All the way down. Yes, there we go. Okay, once your fingertips touch the floor, you keep the palms of your hands together with your thumbs crossed. Keep that grip. Yes. Now press your fingertips into the floor and lift your elbows off the mat. So you now straighten your arms. Yes, guys. Relax your neck. If your forehead is on the floor, great. If it's not, that's fine. Keep your sitting bones on your heels and just breathe. You're there. Beautiful. Good. Now keeping your arms in line with your ears. Slowly lift up, keep your arms in line with your ears, keep your sitting bones on your heels. Good, sit up tall. Beautiful. And then relax your arms down by your sides and breathe. Good. Okay, we would have another Shavasana and sit up, but we're not going to do a lot of them because we'll never get through this. So we'll just move straight into Ustrasana Camel. Separate your, so lift your sitting bones away from your heels first. Separate your knees about 6 inches apart. Tops of your feet are on the floor behind you. Take your hands to your lower back, fingers face downwards. Think about pretending to slide them into jeans pockets behind you. Good. Send your hips, tummy, and thighs slightly forward. As you breathe in, you lift your chest, you lift your gaze. Then as you breathe out, you start to lean back. You can keep your hands on your lower back for support, or you can reach down, hold on to your right heel, hold on to your left heel, and then lift up with your chest and send your hips, tummy, and thighs forward. And now you hold it. Try not to drop your head back, guys, because you can't breathe. Yes, beautiful. Send your hips, tummy, thighs forward. You're there, Devon. That looks perfect. Make sure you're breathing. Sneaky little sips of air in and out of your nose. And now you just hold. 3, 2, hands to lower back on 1. You lift yourself up and out slowly. Very nice. Drop your sitting bones down towards your heels. And we'll definitely do Shavasana. Please turn around. Definitely Shavasana after this one. We don't leave this out. Quick as you can. Good. Let the legs extend out in front of you. Relax your arms down alongside you. You're in your Shavasana. And you just breathe. So arms down alongside you. Yes. Okay, so camel can spike your heart rate. It can spike your breath. So we just take this Shavasana to let everything settle. That was really nice, guys. Okay, Bikram sit up, feet together, flex your toes, arms overhead, cross just your thumbs. Take a deep breath in, and then you sit up. You know what to do. Go for it. Yes, double exhale as you reach for your toes. Very nice. Okay, turn around, face the front, sit on your knees. Sitting bones towards your heels. We're moving into Sasangasana Rabbit. Listen to the instructions, it's a little bit tricky. You're going to take a grip on your heels with your thumbs facing outwards and your fingers facing inwards. So you might have to become a little rounded through the upper back and lower back, actually, sorry, to keep that grip on your heels. So your thumbs are facing out, your fingers are facing inwards, and I'm holding my heels. Okay? I want you guys to watch, please, because it's not this. It's not that. You need to lift your bum up, roll forward like a wheel, get your forehead as close to your knees as possible, and that's where you hold it. Okay? So when you're ready, go. Lift your bum away from your heels. Send your body weight forward and make sure, please, it's not your forehead that's on the floor. It's the middle of the top of your head. So tuck your chin right in. Good. Hold your heels because that helps you control that you have little to no weight in your head and on your neck. Let your arms become strong and straight like cables. Beautiful. And now suck your belly in and lift it up. Get some more rounding into your spine. Nice, guys. Nice. And then change, lift yourself up and out slowly. Very nice. Okay. From there, swing your hips over towards any side you like. You can sit down. Take your right leg out to the corner of your mat for Janu Shirshasana. Bring your left foot in so the sole of your foot touches the inside of your right leg. You're going to turn slightly to face that right leg with a flex in the foot. Take your arms up overhead, interlace just your fingers, and then fold over that right leg, and you need to get your forehead to touch your knee. So you tuck the chin right in with an interlace of your hands around the ball of your foot, and you get your forehead to touch your knee. If you need to bend your right knee to do it, you bend your right knee. Good. Okay, now let's find a little bit of work in the shape. So flex the toes by pulling on the toes, and then lower your left armpit down a little so that your shoulders are level. Yep, who is that? Nice, Devon. Beautiful. And then to soften the shoulders, can you just bend your elbows a little? Tuck the chin right in, breathe into the back body for that compression in the front of the throat. Nice. Okay, keep the bind of your hands. You're going to change. So come up through the center, keep the bind of your hands overhead, and change your legs without using your hands. Left leg out, bring the right foot in, sole of your foot touches the inside of that thigh. So it might be tricky to get there. Turn to face that left leg, flex the toes, fold forward, interlace hands around the ball of that left foot, and now you do the same thing. You get your forehead to touch your knee. If you need to bend the left knee, you do that. If you want to try and straighten it, you keep your forehead on your knee and you slide the heel incrementally away from you without losing that forehead to knee connection. Good. And you drop your right armpit down a little on the side. Nice. And then bend your elbow so you soften into the back of the neck. Good. Tuck the chin right in. Think about massaging into the thyroid gland with that tucking of the chin to the chest. Good. Nice. And then change. Lift yourself up and out. Okay. Good. Okay. Straighten both legs out in front of you. You can relax your arms down by your sides for a moment. Bend your knees. Take a peace finger bind around your big toes. Yep. Okay. Then I want you to wriggle your hips back. So walk your bottom back until you feel that you straightened your legs as much as they will go. Okay. As you breathe in, you take a little lift at the chest. As you breathe out, you're going to keep looking forward and you're going to bring yourself down into Paschimottanasana. Drag your elbows down on either side of your shins or your calves. And then pull on those toes that you flex the feet. And you keep looking forward as you try and get your tummy and your chest onto your thighs. Good. So bend the knees a little if that doesn't work for you. Good. And then good. Now you keep looking forward. You're there. Beautiful. Yes. Nice. Good. And then change. You lift yourself up and out. Okay. Second last one, guys. We're nearly there. Spinal seated twist. Keep your left leg out in front of you. Lift the right leg up. Cross it over the left. If you want to, you can bend the bottom knee, but then you make sure that both of your sitting bones are on the floor. Take your right hand and place it behind you, close to your spine. As you breathe in, you lift the left arm up. And as you breathe out, you're going to twist. You're going to hook your elbow on the knee, and you're going to look over your right shoulder. Keep the right hand close to your spine and push it down so that you lengthen on the breath in. And then you twist a little bit more on the breath out. Good. Okay, try this. Can you reach down with that hand and hold the bottom knee? The hand that's got your elbow on. Yes, yes, Devin. Yes. Yep, see if you can. Aha, okay, tricky. Okay, all right, change. Come through the middle. And then swap it out. So your right leg is straight. Cross the left leg up and over. Again, you can bend your bottom leg, but if your left sitting bone lifts off the floor, you keep that leg straight. Left hand behind you on this side, keep it close to the body. As you inhale, right arm lifts up. And as you exhale, you twist towards your left elbow on the knee. You can have a stop sign, or maybe you try and see if you can hold the bottom knee. Most of you probably won't be able to, but that's fine. And then you twist. Oh, nice. Zoe, beautiful. Nice. Good. Good. And Silva, Valerie, yes, that looks beautiful. Okay, and then change, look forwards. Last one, Kapalabhati. I want you to sit on your knees, please. If it's uncomfortable, you can sit on your sitting bones. Hands on your thighs, straighten your arms, relax your shoulders. Okay, remember it's a forced exhalation coming from the tummy. So don't do it yet, just listen. You take a breath in, about 60% of your lungs are full. And then you open your mouth and the sound is like this. Shh, 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 shh. As you're pumping the belly, it's that pumping of the navel. Okay, so if anybody's not sure, just watch my tummy, breathe in, and then it goes like this. Shh, 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 shh. Okay. I'm going to clap with my fingers on the palm of my hands so that we keep the same breath. Okay? Sit up nice and tall, hands on your thighs, straighten your arms, and don't use your shoulders. We're going to synchronize the breath first. So take a big breath in through the nose and open your mouth and just sigh out. Okay, here we go. Kapalabhati. Take an inhale, puff your tummy out, hold your breath. And now we go. Shh, 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 shh. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe it all out and let it go. Good. As you inhale, take a big breath in through your nose, fill up your lungs. Open your mouth and sigh it all out. So I got distracted by the dog, Paula's dog. Good. All right, guys, bring your hands to create your heart space. Take a little bow of chin down towards your fingertips. And then I'm going to give you a very, very short Shavasana, but you need it. So please come into your Shavasana. You don't have to turn around. You can just take a normal Shavasana. If you feel like you're going to get cold, put a jersey on, get a blanket, whatever you need. And I'm going to give you guys, what's it now? It's 10 past. I'll give you until just past 1/4 just to relax. Well done. Especially for those who haven't done Hot 26 before, it's tricky. Paula, your dog is really sweet. Flying right on top of her. Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, eyes closed, body relaxed, face super, super soft. Let's feel the breath slowly return to its natural, easy flow and feel the heart rate start to slow down. It's been so good, except for one little bark. Guys, as you are ready, you can just slowly start to make your way to a seat. Don't rush. Okay, as you're ready, you can make your way to a seat. Don't rush. Just take your time. Come out of your Shavasana slowly. Okay, I'll just wait for everybody to get there. All the animals have decided it's now playtime. So sweet. Okay. All right, so that was just a little taste of Hot 26. Did anybody absolutely hate it? No. Good. Okay, Valerie and Hannah Lee, have you done Hot 26 before? No. Okay, that was quite impressive. Okay, well done. Very nice. Okay, guys, do you have any questions? Anything you want to ask about the sequence? The one thing that I haven't really discussed is why we do it at 40-degree heat and 60% humidity is because the heat has the ability to open the muscles a little bit more, so you get a little bit deeper into your stretching poses. Also helps to flush out toxins and sort of keep your body healthy. It is advisable to make sure that you've had enough to drink before you do a class and to hydrate after you've done a class, because as you may have noticed, you don't have time to faff and fidget and drink and fiddle if you're doing a Hot 26. Okay, and I actually taught it relatively slower tonight. I think you get the gist though. It's literally one shape to the other, and the breathing isn't cued. You don't say inhale and exhale throughout the whole class like we do in Vinyasa, so it's a little bit different, and it is quite static, which I'm sure you would have noticed because you're holding the poses. Okay, any questions from anybody? Anything you want to ask? Did everybody find that standing head to knee, possibly, except I think Hanley had it nailed, difficult or the most challenging, or did you find it easy? You can unmute yourself and answer whatever. I don't really mind.
I think in normal Hot 26 classes with the heat, camel pose for me is the most difficult one because I can only hold it for like a few seconds and I feel like I'm going to throw up usually.
Okay. Okay, cool. All right. Good. All right. So have a look on the website, please, if you're interested in teaching Hot 26. We're running it in September. I can't remember the dates offhand, but have a look and you'll meet Penny. I think you're meeting Penny in a couple of days' time. She's doing an online thing for you as well. So I hope you enjoyed this evening. I know it's difficult because it's late at night and you probably have done a hell of a lot of stuff today. But I hope that just showed you or gave you a taste for what Hot 26 is all about. And maybe you will be interested in doing it. Maybe you'll be interested in teaching it. That'll be great. And I wish I could meet all of you in person, but maybe we'll get to do that one day. And well done for choosing Catherine as your choice to do the course. She is Laura, Catherine, Taryn are brilliant. So well done, guys. Thanks. Have a beautiful evening. And I'll see you again soon. Okay, namaste. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Pleasure.
Thanks,
Thank you so
Bev.
much, Bev.
Thank you.
My pleasure. I wish I
night.
could meet all of you.
Bev.
Lovely
I
evening.
know.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bev. Thank you very much.
Is the Hot 26 course through the Wellness Connection?
Yes, it is through the Wellness Connection. Definitely, yes. Catherine organizes the Yoga Line certification and everything. I think I've lost you now. Yes. Yes, it is, Hanley. It's through the Wellness Connection. Hanley, can you hear me? I missed that completely. Hanley, it is through Wellness Connection, yes.
Okay.
Okay. Definitely.
Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, guys. Okay, bye. Bye.
Bye.